The young man accidentally discovered that the gold his grandmother bought could actually be attracted by a magnet. He instantly realized that his grandmother must have been scammed, so he immediately decided to take his wife to the gold store to get a refund or exchange. Unexpectedly, when he took out the gold jewelry, the sales clerk mistakenly thought he wanted to exchange it for a new design. So she immediately mentioned a 5% service fee would apply. The young man got very angry at this. He loudly accused the store of selling fake gold and demanded a full refund from the sales clerk. When the other customers in the store heard this, that the gold sold in the store might be fake, they immediately put down the gold jewelry they had been looking at. The customers said that if the store was selling fake gold, then they absolutely wouldn't make a purchase. Seeing the customers getting agitated, the sales clerk quickly tried to calm everyone down. She promised that all the gold jewelry in the store was made of pure gold, and if any fake gold was found, the store would compensate 10,000 times the value. She even accused the young man of being a competitor trying to smear their reputation. Seeing that the clerk refused to admit anything, the young man pulled out a magnet from his bag, and the next second, the gold was visibly attracted to it. So all the customers present wanted to check if their own gold could be attracted too. Seeing the young man escalating the situation, the sales clerk had no choice but to explain to everyone that the gold wasn't actually purchased from their store. Since the clerk refused to admit it, the young man immediately presented other evidence. He showed the receipt and invoice from when his grandmother had bought the gold, along with the bank transaction record. Looking at the evidence he provided, the sales clerk was left speechless. The customers, seeing this, all said they wanted to return the gold they had just bought. Hearing the commotion in the hall, the store manager came out of the office. After checking the young man's documents at the counter, he declared that all the documents were fake. Then he accused the young man of trying to extort the store. Facing the store manager's slander, the young man calmly responded that the manager's opinion didn't matter. He would go to the authorities to verify the gold, and when the truth comes out, everyone would know who was lying. Hearing this, the manager immediately changed his attitude and altered his previous statement. He said even if the documents were real, that didn't prove the gold came from their store. It was also possible the young man had switched the gold himself. The sales clerk seized the opportunity to accuse him of using fake gold to extort money. Seeing the ugly faces of the manager and the clerk, the young man could hardly contain his anger. But just then, unexpectedly, officials from the Market Supervision Department arrived at the gold store. Due to a recent surge in fake gold in the market, they were conducting surprise inspections of all gold stores. Upon hearing the officials' explanation, the young man immediately realized this was his chance. He was about to report them when the manager interrupted him. The manager quietly promised him that he would agree to his refund request and kept signaling him with his eyes. Hearing the manager agree to a refund, the young man held back from reporting them and allowed the clerk to bring out real gold for the inspection. However, they didn't know that outside the store, two fugitives were planning to rob the gold. After the market regulators left, the manager invited the young man and his wife into the office. They began discussing the refund process for the gold. But what the young man didn't expect was that the manager tried to play games with him. He demanded that the young man provide 5 types of documentation as required. Only then could the refund be processed. The first item was to prove the young man's relationship to the buyer. That is, he had to prove that the elderly woman was indeed his grandmother. The wife said that all the neighbors knew about their relationship, but the manager insisted that wasn't acceptable. They would only accept an official verification report. The young man was furious. He immediately questioned the manager, saying his grandmother had passed away many years ago. How could he possibly obtain such verification? It was obvious the manager was making things difficult on purpose. He clearly didn't intend to give the refund. Then the manager listed 4 more requirements. Not only did he have to prove that he was the sole legal heir, he also had to prove that any other heirs had passed away or had voluntarily given up their inheritance rights. Before the manager could even finish stating the remaining 2 proofs, the young man could no longer tolerate the manager's shameless behavior. He realized the manager was simply trying to avoid the refund. The young man immediately stood up, ready to beat the manager. Luckily, his wife stopped him just in time, but little did they know that at that very moment, 2 robbers suddenly stormed into the store's main hall. They happened to steal the batch of real gold that had been brought out for inspection. As they were about to escape, they unexpectedly ran straight into the young man, who had just exited the office. Because the young man's backpack looked very similar to the robbers, in the chaos, one of the robbers grabbed the young man's bag and ran. Meanwhile, the young man was knocked to the ground and quickly realized they had accidentally switched bags. Faced with the store manager's shady behavior, the young man decided not to return the real gold in the bag to the manager. He planned to use it as leverage to force a refund for the fake gold. But before he could even speak, the manager told him bluntly that without the 5 required documents, he shouldn't dream of getting a single cent from the store. Hearing this, the young man was furious, so he chose not to tell the manager that he had picked up the real gold. Instead, he took the real gold home. But less than 10 minutes after arriving home, the store manager showed up at his house with the clerk and some gifts. They hoped the young man would return the gold he picked up earlier. The young man didn't hide the fact that he had the gold. Instead, he said plainly that he would return the gold, but only if the manager could provide 5 documents to prove that the gold truly belonged to their store. However, the 5 proofs he asked for were not something the manager could provide. This completely broke the manager down, but there was nothing he could do about the young man, because when the young man had tried to return the fake gold, the manager had treated him in exactly the same way.